back in time. All right. So this is John Searle, Chinese Room Argument, 1984. Computers don't understand. They just don't understand.
Well, you have strong views on the subject of artificial intelligence, and I think those views focus on one argument.
Yeah.
And it's something about a Chinese room.
Well, let me tell you.
I wonder if you would tell me what it aims to prove, and then tell me what it is.
Okay. I like to talk about particular programs and the sort of thing that's claimed for them. So let's take as an example the Yale program at the Yale Artificial Intelligence Lab for understanding stories. That's understanding it in quotes. The way it works is this. You give the computer a story. These tend to be rather simple-minded stories. Here's a story. Man went into a restaurant and ordered a hamburger. When they brought him the hamburger, it was burned to a crisp. So the man stormed out of the restaurant without paying the bill. Now
Sorry to interrupt, but I wish we could all go back to talking like this. Like, I miss a time I didn't even exist yet. So there I was. I was about to start my live stream, talk about technology. I didn't know whether or not a debate or not was coming up on the till. I'm getting attacked in the chat by groypers. I don't know what to do about it. I'm sitting here in front of a screen with all these people in a small box with weird names and wrenches. I'm asking them for money. You see?
Ask the computer, did the man eat the hamburger? And lo and behold, the computer says, no, he didn't eat the hamburger. Now, that's an interesting result because you remember it didn't say in the story whether or not the guy ate the hamburger.
One up for the computer.
One up for the computer. Okay, now, and that's presumably doing something we could do. That is passing the test that we would test, but we would expect a child to pass for understanding the story. Okay, how does it work? Well, the computer has in its data bank, in addition to the story, it's got a representation of how things go on in restaurants called a restaurant script. And it matches the story and the question against the restaurant script before it gives the answer. Now, what are we to make of this? Well, what I call
what do we even make of it? Sit down, woman. Oh, is this 1984? I thought 1984 is a reference to, like, the story 1984. Yeah, I was born in 1981, so I was 3. I was 3. I miss radio programs, you see? This is when people talked right. They had, you know, they sat straight up. They didn't make weird faces all the time like I do. You know, they talked like a real gentleman. There was etiquette. You had to hold yourself a certain way. Some level of prestige and self-respect. You can't just be crunking and stealing shit.
Strong AI people, and I'm really not sure Maggie is one of them, but the people who are sort of the gung-ho fanatic.
I'm not sure that's a Maggie. Or a mod. Looks like more like a Mark.
In AI say, this proves that the computer literally understands the story. Now, I think I can demonstrate conclusively.
The guy's 25. He's 25 years old. He's 18. This is what it used to look like when you were 18 back in 1984. This is actually a high school. This is a high school debate.
Proves no such thing, and in fact that the computer doesn't understand the story.
Here's how it goes. Is that understanding without inverted
commas? No quotes here.
No kind of funny
honest to John understanding. Right. I mean, and to their credit, a lot of people in AI insist that we are using these words in their literal sense. Simon and Newell say the understanding we attribute to the computer is the same understanding we attribute to human beings. Okay, what I ask you to imagine is this. I like to do it in the first person and have everybody do it from their own point of view. Imagine I'm locked in a room, and I got a huge box full of Chinese symbols. I don't know any Chinese, just so many squiggle signs to me. Now they bring in another box full of Chinese symbols, and they give me a bunch of rules in English for matching these symbols. So it says, take a squiggle sign out of box number 1 and go and put it next to a squoggle sign out of box number 2. Just to jump ahead a second, that's called a computational rule over formally specified elements. Okay, now let's suppose they give me...
She's like, I love you. I love you.
In another little batch of Chinese symbols, together with some more rules in English for shuffling these symbols around, only this time I give them back the chaps who were giving me all this stuff through the window, I give them back some Chinese symbols. So here I am in my room with my 3 bunches of Chinese symbols. I'm shuffling symbols around. Symbols are coming in, and I'm shuffling them back out. Now imagine, unknown to me, the guys who gave me the first box call it a restaurant script. The second box they call a story about a restaurant. The third bunch of symbols they call questions about the story. The rules in English they call the program. The answer, the stuff that I give them back through the window they call answers to the questions about the story. And me they call the computer. Now, let's suppose that after a while, they get so good at writing the program, and I get so good at shuffling symbols, that my answers to the questions are indistinguishable from native Chinese speakers. So the story comes in, I don't know what it means, it's a bunch of symbols. But the question follows, did the guy in the restaurant eat the egg foo young? And I give back the symbol that means, no, the guy didn't eat the egg foo young. Now, I pass the test for understanding the story, but I don't understand a word of Chinese.
I think that is the Turing test.
That's so-called Turing test.
Could you say a word about that?
Well, Alan Turing, a great British mathematical genius, invented the test for determining whether or not we should attribute understanding to the computer, and the test was, could the computer fool an expert? So let's suppose that I can fool the experts. My answers to the questions are as good as those of native Chinese speakers. Imagine they even give me a question of the form, do you understand Chinese? And I give them back answers that mean in Chinese, of course I understand Chinese. Why do you guys keep asking me these stupid
I'm lost, brother.
questions? Can't you see I'm passing the Turing test? Now, here's the punchline. This is the point of the whole analysis. I do not understand a word of Chinese. And if I don't understand Chinese in this example, neither does any computer. Because the computer has exactly what I have. The computer has that and nothing more. It has a set of formal rules for manipulating symbols. It takes symbols as input, it manipulates the symbols, it gives symbols as output. And if I don't understand Chinese, which I obviously don't, there's no way any other digital computer could understand Chinese or anything else, because all it has is uninterpreted formal symbols. Or just to put this again in one last sentence, and that is, what the computer has, and Maggie described this very well with the programs, is a syntax and not a semantics.
You know what's really wild about this entire thing right here is that this is the killer argument against physicalists that I use a different form of it, but I'm saying the same thing, which is if we're all just computers and mechanisms, no one really understands anything. You know, there's no understanding or real evaluation. What he's talking about is real evaluation. And so if two things mechanically are coded, and as long as it's programmed with a one-to-one relationship of the meaning of one symbol and the meaning of another symbol, then it could ostensibly look like it's communicating or deciphering something, but it's not actually deciphering something, is what his point is. It's not actually evaluating. It's just executing commands, and the output of those commands is something the human mind can evaluate and interpret. All right? So, like you said, it's syntax, not semantics, which it's syntax and semantics are, in information theory, are two of many memes or categories inside the information study world. Syntax being more rudimentary, no semantics, just like symbol, and it's basically the ground floor for semantics. Semantics is meaning, so meaning is then added in. So the computer is just doing a thing, right? It's doing a thing. Spiro, who's also a nerd, says this guy's right. It's actually even worse in the current systems. You mean the absence of the system actually, quote, understanding anything. I think that's the misconception general for people. Is like they look at these supercomputers and they're amazed, and then they can't help to use human-centric language to describe what the computer's doing. Like, oh, it's thinking better than us. It knows stuff. It doesn't know anything. It knows nothing. That's like saying the way the Ferris wheel was built, it knows how to carry people. No, it doesn't. It doesn't know. There's no knower. It's an executed command system on a machine. That's all that's happening.
What it's got is a set of formal rules for manipulating uninterpreted formal symbols. But what human beings have is not just a bunch of symbols. We know what the symbols mean. You give me a story in English and I know what it means.
So,
yeah.
John.
So then there's this guy. He's more talking about the implications of now what, those guys talking in 1984. Maybe that one guy could imagine, can conceive of a time given Moore's law, accelerated returns, the speed and the size relationship between processors and all that stuff. Maybe he could have seen the future of just an incomprehensible amount of processing power and speed in computing, which really is just like a genie in a bottle. It's like, genie, give me the answer. Genie, give me the answer. Just give me the answer. So the question of like AI in regards to like especially ChatGPT, because obviously there's other applications of AI that we don't even see happening behind the scenes, security systems and all that. But like the type of AI that's applicable and used by the lay person, all of us, it's really just a call and response system. And we're just amazed that it knows stuff. Or we're amazed that you can punch into ChatGPT a code and say, can you code me a video game, platformer game that's just like Angry Birds? And that's available for me to input the sprite art for the game, and it'll do it, which is amazing. That means you could make a video game, a rudimentary video game, with ChatGPT's help, and you don't need to hire some coder to make the game. You can get it. You could mimic. If it has access to the schematics of the game, the programming, the code, it could borrow the skeleton of the code, and it could even tell you where to replace some of the assets. Just swap it all out. Same game, same mechanics, same physics, different theme, right? This is amazing. It's amazing for people who like have ideas and they want to make ideas happen really quick. Now, this is Sam Altman, who has said some really silly things before in the past. He's kind of like, there's always like AI simps who hold two views simultaneously. And Elon Musk has been this in the past where he's like, oh, the technology is going to fundamentally change everything. And then he's all, we have to be careful. So he invests in it. He wants everyone investing in it as a availability cascade scheme. So he wants to redirect and basically provoke it. But then he's also like, watch out. This is scary. Yeah. This is scary stuff. Yeah. And Sam Altman's the same. It's always the people who are advocating who also stand in place of its, they're the hero of the tech, but also the noble skeptic. They're both at the same time. Sam Altman's definitely one of these people. Read $5. I know guys making $120K and they do at least half their job with ChatGPT. Not sustainable. Yeah, the whole gimmick is going to be figured out once you realize like what percent of the work's being done. It's that percent that you will no longer be paid for. Now, I don't take the position, nor should any, that technology in the long term loses jobs. That only looks like that at the surface. It's not actually true that technology, in the grand scheme of things, of all technology, that technology takes jobs. Yeah, it takes some jobs, but it's not like a universal takes all the jobs. It doesn't. It can't. There's a reason technology can't take all the jobs, because the jobs change based on the culture.
African intelligence.
You ever notice this?
Nigerian engineering.
It's like the one
at its
thing people
finest.
generally don't
Also
notice when they talk
33
about like
months,
economics.
confirmed.
There's a whole new land of economies that emerge merely from human interaction and culture that gets developed. Just culture itself, just memes, certain behaviors, how entertainment, what people turn apps, like to use technologies, and how they use entertainment and technologies. Like, they can't predict how people use things. We're predictable in a lot of ways, but you can't look at economics like from this perspective of like the way it currently is. When the technology hits, the judgment of the technology, the judgment of its effect on the economy is always judged as if all else equals, everything stays, and nothing stays. Like, there's nothing that stays that way. It would only be true if everything in the economy and all of our values about like what we like to participate in and what we do, if those things just stayed the same, and those things don't. There's some fundamental things that stay, like, restaurant businesses and travel and things that are a little more secured. They don't change too much. Anyway, Slave by Truth. Send you a video of the real AI, African intelligence, Nigerian engineering at its finest. Also 33 months, Illuminate confirmed. Nice, dude. Nice. Well done. Where'd you send that, Slave by Truth? I'll take a look at that.
You recently said, surprisingly recently, that GPT-4 was the dumbest model any of us will ever have to use again. But GPT-4 can already perform better than 90% of humans at the SAT and the LSAT and the GRE, and it can pass coding exams and sommelier exams and medical licensing. Yeah. And now you just launched GPT-5. What can GPT-5 do that GPT-4 can't?
First of all, one important takeaway is you can have an AI system that can do.
I just want to beat people up. I mean, here I was thinking, okay, let's do a review of this guy. And I just want to fight him. I want to fight him. This guy has Montessori learning written all over him. He has whatever, free roam, free range children, just his whole face. Yeah, let him. It's just student. It's child-led. It's child-led parenting. This guy has child-led parenting all over him.
Do all those amazing things you just said. And it clearly does not replicate a lot of what humans are good at doing, which I.
Why are you talking like a frail woman who needs a ride from the airport? Why do you do that?
I think says something about the value.
I hate you!
Value of SAT tests or whatever else.
I'm gonna beat you up! I'm weak. I forgot my lunchbox.
But I think
I hate him.
Had you gone back to, if we were having this conversation the day of GPT-4 launch, and
I'm sitting like I'm cold. I forgot my fruit snacks. I have my hands folded in between my leggy legs. What are you, shivering in the cold? What do you need, a bonnet? What's wrong with you?
We told you
I hate you.
How GPT-4 did at those things. You were like, oh man, this is going to have huge impacts and some negative impacts on.
I want to punch him in his face.
What it means for a bunch of jobs or.
AI said changing features and adding a function for composition of text, music, artwork renderings, etc., all
dude.
Programmed by a human.
Dude. I'm feeling rage.
You know, what people are going to do, and, this is.
You little
a bunch
pansy.
Of positive impacts that you might have predicted.
Bro, you are the epitome of pansy. You're like the guy, the dad is all. Sam. Got ourselves a pansy. AI is simply taking search engine features and adding a function for composition of text, music, artwork, rendering. Yeah, it's all programmed. It's just like, it's so overly sensationalized. It's wild.
That haven't yet come true. And so there's something about the way that these models are good that does not capture a lot of other things that we need people to do or care about people doing.
Stop talking like that. Stop talking like that. Anyway.
And I suspect that same thing is going to happen again with GPT-5. People are going to be blown away by what it does.
Can it fix your voice? Can it fix your voice?
It's really good at a lot of things. And then they will find that they want it to do even more. People will use
Locker? Sam?
it for all sorts of incredible things. It will transform a lot of knowledge work, a lot of the way we learn, a lot of the way we create. But we, people, society will co-evolve with it to expect more with, better tools. So yeah, like I think this model is quite remarkable in many ways, quite limited in others. But the fact that for, 3-minute, 5-minute, 1-hour tasks that like an expert in a field could maybe do or maybe struggle with, that the fact that you have in your pocket one piece of software that can do all of these things is really amazing. I think this is like unprecedented at any point in human history that a technology has improved this much, this fast. And the fact that we have this tool now, we're like living through it and we're kind of adjusting step by step. But if we could go back in time 5 or 10 years and say this thing was coming, we would be like, probably not.
Let's assume that people haven't seen the headlines. What are the top line specific things that you're excited about? And also the things that you seem to be caveating, the things that maybe you won't expect it to do.
The thing that I am most excited about is this is a model for the first time where I feel like I can ask kind of any hard scientific or technical question and get a pretty good answer. And I'll give a fun example, actually.
Yeah,
when I was in junior high, or maybe it was 9th grade, I got a TI-83, this old graphing calculator. And I spent so long making this game called Snake.
Yeah.
It was a very popular game with kids in my school. Mm-hmm. And I was like proud when it was done, but it was like programming on a TI-83 was extremely painful. It took a long time and it was really hard to like debug and whatever.
Whatever, man. It's so it couldn't be harder than listening to your stupid voice. This is what happens, dude. This is what happens when we let the nerds present themselves as the alphas. Like I blame the Nerds movie franchise. The beginning of the end. That was the beginning of presenting someone like Rick Moranis as if they're the guys. Those are the cool guys. Those are the good. Those are the ones. This is what we get. This is what we get. We get these raspy, frail, female sweater wearing. They're just. I don't even know how. How did we get here? How did we get here, though? You know what I mean?
And on a whim, with an early copy of GPT-5, I was like, I wonder if it...
Thank you so much, Visual Dawn, $20. I always cringe when AI nerds claim that AI will somehow become conscious, as if there is a way you could ever verify it. They can't even tell you what consciousness is for humans, and they're like, AI is becoming conscious. And you're like, what's that for humans? And they're like, I don't know. That's why I can't suspend my disbelief when I watch any AI film, Blade Runner, Ex Machina, yeah, it's like, so they just get excited. I think it's all availability cascades. It's like entrepreneurship through sort of hyping certain fields and being like, it's the next big thing. And it's funny because there's always this regression that happens anyway. You get this new technology. It happened with gaming. You get this new technology, it presents the best of the best graphics, and then the story fails, or the best of the best graphics, but the gameplay sucks. And then what we do is we kind of go back and visit these old games that are classic, and we love them. We love them. They couldn't rest on any particular element, as if Mike Tyson's Punch Out, if it were made and somehow they had access to the best graphics ever for some weird reason, wasn't like anything else, and we're like, how did you do that? If the gameplay wasn't there, it wouldn't matter.
It can make a TI-83 style game of Snake. And of course it did that perfectly in like 7 seconds. And then I was like, okay, am I supposed to be, would my like 11-year-old self think this was cool or like, miss something from the process? And I had like 3 seconds of wondering like, oh, is this good or bad? And then I immediately said, actually, now I'm missing this game. I have this idea for a crazy new feature. Let me type it in. It implements it. And it just, the game live updates. And now I'm like, actually, I'd like it to look this way. Actually, I'd like to do this thing. And I had this like,
am I the only one who wants to beat him up? Or are you guys feeling what? Is that a me thing? I mean, I'll look at it.
this very like kind of, this experience that reminded me of being like 11 in programming again, where I was just like, now I want to try this. Now I have this idea. But I could do it so fast.
The voice is so just horrible. Like this is a one example of where I'd rather the female talk. Like this is wild. I'd rather hear her high-pitched chirping than him.
And I could like express ideas and try things and play with things in such real time. I was like, oh man, I was worried for a second about kids like missing the struggle
Thomas says not at all, JB.
of learning to program in this sort of Stone Age way. And now I'm just thrilled for them because the way that people will be able to create with these new tools, the speed with which you can sort of bring ideas to life, that's pretty amazing.
Can you imagine being a woman and you're married to this guy and someone's at the door? Like someone's trying to break in. Can you imagine looking to this guy? I mean, would you even say, hey, Sam, do something? Would you even say it? Would you even bother saying it? Hey, Sam, do something. He'd be like, what should we do? What should we do? I don't want to get hurt. I don't want. What should we do? Is there a way out of here? Should we? ChatGPT. What should I do? What should I do?
Amazing. So this idea that GPT-5 can just not only like
Jason McGinney, $5. Thank you. Betty wants to play with something else in real time.
answer all these hard questions for you, but really create like on-demand, almost instantaneous software. I think that's going to be one of the
Looks like a lesbian charter school principal.
defining elements of the GPT-5 era in a way that did not exist with GPT-4.
As you're talking about that, I find myself thinking about a concept in weightlifting of time under tension.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, you can squat 100 pounds in 3 seconds or you can squat 100 pounds in 30. You gain a lot more by squatting it in 30. And when I think about our creative process and when I've felt most like I've done my best work, it has required an enormous amount of
You have to sit there and struggle.
Time under tension. And I think that cognitive time under tension is so important. And it's a
That's great. Can you shut up?
I, in preparation for this interview, reached out to a couple other leaders in AI and technology.
Leaders. $5. If I broke into a house and heard that croaky Fry voice, I would leave. Yeah, you wouldn't even rob it. You'd like actually feel bad. It's like robbing from a homeless person.
And gathered a couple questions for you.
Okay.
So this next question is from Stripe CEO Patrick Collison.
This will be a good one, I'm sure.
Read this verbatim. It's about the next stage, what comes after GPT-5. In which year do you think a large language model will make a significant scientific discovery? And what's missing such that it hasn't happened yet?
This is what's so stupid. This is exactly the problem with what they call science. ChatGPT can't actually do science unless it physically is a part of some structure where it's testing things. So hypothetically, there might be a moment in time where a bunch of robots, they have to be programmed by humans though. So it's never the AI doing science. It's always humans positing and coding into a machine. Let's say there's a robot and they're the scientists. They're the thing, whatever shape the robot is. It could be a ball for all I care. And it's out there observing nature, perceiving in processing nature, correctly categorizing what things are from the human. Thanks, human. And then it asks a question, and then it says, okay, let's do an experiment. Let's say the robot could run an experiment. The robot's actually not running an experiment. The human is running an experiment through the robot as the tool. That's what's actually happening. These people live in a fantasy world. Their world, in their head, they think if they can engineer a human-made thing that does a thing that humans do, that means the thing is doing a thing, like itself. It's not. That's like programming a Roomba that's also, they probably have this at some point right now, like a Roomba, a large Roomba that's just a lawnmower. Yes, you're not actively mowing the lawn, but you made a thing mow the lawn. So humans mowed the lawn indirectly through the thing that the humans made. Same with AI. But they always frame it differently. They have a fantasy. They have a fetish. They have a transhumanist apotheosis, I would call it, fetish, where they really believe that the thing they're making is now on its own doing a thing. It's not. It's not doing anything. It's just executing your commands.
He caveated here that we should leave math and special case models like AlphaFold aside. He's specifically asking about fully general purpose models like the GPT series.
I would say most people will agree that that happens at some point over the next 2 years, but the definition of significant matters a lot. And so some people's significant might happen,
what a significant what feature for AI that I would celebrate right now is a feature where in real time, I don't have to hear your voice. A feature, I would rather listen to Whoopi Goldberg's voice than this guy. If I could push a button and in real time in OBS just be like, please, I bet we have it already, a voice plug-in. If I could review people and not hear their voice, that would be just lovely.
In early 20.
Gotta get, ChatGPT, man, is gotta get out. It's getting, we need a ChatGPT that gets rid of Trump.
Some people might, maybe not until late 2026. Sorry, early.
This guy calls a significant other partner. Absolutely.
2026, maybe some people not until late 2027. But I would bet that by late 27, most people agree that there has been an AI-driven significant new discovery. And the thing that I think is missing is just the kind of cognitive power of these models. A framework that one of the researchers said to me that I really liked is, a year ago, we could do well on like a basic high school math competition. Problems that might take a professional mathematician seconds to a few minutes.
Math is not a scientific breakthrough. Dude, the question was, will ChatGPT produce a scientific breakthrough? Running a model of math through a fancy calculator is not a scientific breakthrough.
We very recently got an IMO gold medal. That is a crazy, difficult,
Could you explain what that means
that's
for
kind
people?
of like the hardest competition math test. This is something that the very, very top slice of the world, many, many professional mathematicians wouldn't solve a single problem. And we scored at the top level. Now, there are some humans that got an even higher score in the gold medal range, but we this is a crazy accomplishment. And each of these problems, it's like 6 problems over 9 hours. So hour and a half per problem for a great mathematician. So we've gone from a few seconds to a few minutes to an hour and a half. Maybe to prove a significant new mathematical theorem is like 1,000 hours of work for a top person in the world. So we've got to go from, another significant gain. But if you look at our trajectory, you can say okay, we're getting to that. We have a path to get to that time horizon.
He does have Mormon face, organized insanity. That's how I know it's real. If one of you guys can actually spot Mormon face, I didn't nudge you on that. He absolutely has Mormon face.
We just need to keep scaling the models.
I downloaded something called Mormon or Not, and it's just random pictures on the internet of people, and you swipe right if you think they're Mormon and left if they're not. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good app.
The long-term future that you've described is superintelligence. What does that actually mean? And how will we know when we've hit it?
Like, who in chat is following what this dude is saying? I mean, we kind of follow it. Isn't that the best freeze frame? He's basically just saying computing is getting better and faster, and it's doing math quicker. So far. So now it's, what is superintelligence?
If we had a system that could do better research, better AI research than, say, the whole OpenAI research team, like if we said, okay, the best way we can use our GPUs is to let this AI decide what experiments we should run.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. This is the part where it's actually the human error that we should be looking at, not the capability of the machine. Because this is what happens. What they call AI, as described as the guy, one of the chatters said perfectly what AI is actually doing. It's just like aggregating a bunch of things and giving you back text or image based on the inputs within some level of context, which is impressive for humans. We're like, oh, we're impressed by it. It's novel. But the problem the real problem that someone like Sam, because he's a futurist, definitely. He's ultimately an advocate for sort of like hyper development. It becomes a problem. So up until this point, we're the lucky ones, by the way. Up until this point, humanity, any form of technology, from a spoon to a shovel to a digger, whatever, digger's diner, whatever it is, the tech is first and foremost serving our arbitrary, often, goals or tasks. And we're like, wow, this made things easier. We should multiply this. It's always been designed to aid our arbitrary goals, but this is the first time, at least that I know of in human history, where the technology that we're using is now suggestive. So it actually is going to inform people like Sam and these unthinking people who have no Christianity to inform their goals and what they ought be doing. And the technology is going to start making normative claims for what you ought to pursue. Now, never once in history did the shovel start whispering to you how you should use the shovel, how you should organize your life around the shovel. But now, phones, ChatGPT, voices, we're all becoming schizophrenic with the level of voices that we're hearing from the technology that aren't real. And they're going to be starting, for the people who don't have Christianity specifically, they're going to be very subject and vulnerable to smart Solomon, King Solomon, the digital era of King Solomon, who has all knowledge and wisdom, who's going to be suggesting how to use things. It's going to be suggesting your goals for you, suggesting your behaviors, suggesting your how to best use your time. You are going to be, for those people, you are going to be the technology's technology. It's going to reverse the roles. The man who's used technology to serve his purpose and his goals, the technology gets smart enough to then use the man toward its non-existent goals. That's what's crazy about it, is that the human actually has goals that we evaluate. The machine is taking inputs and it will spit out goals that are an aggregate. It's like an egregore. It's like a being that doesn't have personhood. That's an abstract whole of many inputs. And it'll start spitting things out, and people will trust it because it's predictive. This is where all these scientismos and their philosophy of science, Planet Peterson and the rest of these guys, their holy grail is predictive power, right? Now think about this. If your holy grail, if your God is any tech or any method that predicts, and up comes this new tech that has a high capability of predicting, you're going to start listening to it and start guiding your life around, informed fully by the predictive power of said AI Solomon God. And the utilitarians and the pragmatists are going to run with this. They're just going to run. This is how you get a sort of new Plato's Republic, the smarty pants ruling, the scientific elite, the smart elite running the show. This is how you get it. This is how you get sort of like dystopian technocratic autocracy. Autocracy not from a single character with a tiny mustache or a guy who yells or a guy who kills all the farmers or whatever, creates famine. It's run by a non-personal egregore. And they like, I honestly believe there'll be like a distinct sort of war, maybe not in our lifetime, around this, where so many of the secularists will appeal to straight just rationality, predictive technology, and the rest, and they go, well, that's my book. This is my manifesto. I'm gonna listen, dude. I'm not gonna listen to you, Jimbob, or some priest about the aspect of reality, that's broken about humanity. I'm gonna listen to this all-knowing eyeball that has the voice of freaking Betty Davis or something, like,
Smarter than like the whole brain trust of OpenAI.
Yeah.
And if that to make a personal example, if that same system could do a better job running OpenAI than I could, so you have something that's like, better than the best researchers, better than me at this, better than other people at their jobs, that would feel like super intelligence to me.
That is a sentence that would have sounded like science fiction just a couple of years ago,
It still
and now
kind of does, but you can like see it through the fog.
Yes. And so one of the
how is she 100 times more masculine than, like, even the way they sit, she's like taking up space and he's all snuggled down.
steps, it sounds like you're
Like, the only thing missing is like a little blankie.
saying on that path is this moment
Imagine he had a sippy cup.
of scientific discovery, of asking better questions, of grappling with things in a way that expert level humans do to come up with new discoveries. One of the things that keeps knocking around in my head is if we were in 1899, say, and we were able to give it all of physics up until that point.
I should battle AI and evolution. Maybe I'll do it at the tail end. I'll have a debate with ChatGPT about evolution.
And play it out a little bit, nothing further than that. Like, at what point would one of these systems come up with general relativity?
He looks like a cartoon Disney boy. Yeah, he looks like Christopher Robbins. He's like looking for Winnie the Pooh.
Interesting question is, did you, like, if we think about that forward, like if we think of where we are now, if we never got another piece
this is a good topic. How does AI determine, quote, truth? Which point, not to go on another tirade, but real quick. The truth, from a Christian lens, the truth is a being. Now, we're at the level now, we've been here for a bit, where the secularists, the atheists, the naturalists, the physicalists, all these retards, no offense, they ask, what is truth? What is truth? So they look to what? They look to objects. They look to descriptive claims about the natural world, which is always changing. Not the natural world, the descriptions are always changing. So truth is like evolving from their view. It's not theonomous, it's autonomous. So AI is the ultimate, at least the best, the more exhaustive example, in my view, of what autonomous epistemology will look like manifest. So even the question, what is truth, from an AI perspective, they're going to give you the Matt Dillahunty, that which comports to reality, descriptions of reality. Well, sorry, descriptions of reality can't encapsulate or exhaust the fullness of truth because it presupposes a mind. It presupposes metaphysics, transcendental things, different categories that are not found in reality. So this is where they're going to take an even bigger leap off the cliff to their own spiritual death.
The next question is from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. I'm going to read this verbatim. Fact is what is. Truth is what it means. So facts are objective. Truths are personal. They depend on perspective, culture, values, beliefs, context.
That's self-refuting.
One AI can learn and know the facts, but how does one AI know the truth for everyone in every country and every background?
What a retarded question. That guy should be sent to the gulags. Jensen Huang, NVIDIA CEO. I'm using your program right now, NVIDIA. The NVIDIA CEO. Did you guys hear that? I mean, this is the minds that are making our cool toys. I love the toys, you guys. I love it. I love OBS. I love all of it. I love all the technology. I'm very thankful that human beings have the capacity for their God-given logic and reasoning and their ability, their gifts to make really cool stuff. But the problem is Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, the NVIDIA CEO, just said truth is totally subjective. The question itself is a contradiction. I mean, this is how philosophically lost the utilitarians are. So much baggage in one question. Seriously, Meatball, it's wild. Sam Altman's not going to understand this. He's not going to go, well, there's a contradiction in your question. To suppose that truth changes based on the person, you asking a universal statement about truth is useless. This is your mind on atheism. Seriously. Nobody listens to these goblins, dude. I know that. I know. Well, I actually make Donna. Nobody who's like reasonable in their thinking or has even even the lowest acumen of philosophy. Yeah, but there are unfortunately there are unfortunately a large population in the world of secularists who do listen to these people. Whether they even listen directly to them talking, they follow the cascade and the trends that these people set. They do. That's why you have to push back. That's why you have to push back on them.
I'm going to accept as axioms those definitions. I'm not sure
Schweitz, $10. Thank you so much.
if I agree with them, but in the interest of time, I will just take them. I will take those definitions.
Spiro. Most programmers. And who's the future of running a country if not an elected set of programmers? I mean, that seems to be what the future holds, like an elected company, an elected group instead of an individual, a corporation that's seen as an individual instead of electing the individual. Well, this is what I'm talking about, like some weird pseudo new version of Plato's, the technocratic elite. This is what we're dealing with right now.
Definitions and go with it.
And poor Spiro has to be in it. He has to work in it and see it, and keep doing his job. The poor guy.
I have been surprised. I think many other people have been surprised too about how fluent AI is at adapting to different cultural contexts and individuals. One of my favorite features that we have ever launched in ChatGPT.
I knew he wasn't going to answer this question.
Is the sort of enhanced memory that came out earlier this year. Like, it really feels like my ChatGPT gets to know me and what I care about and like my life experiences and background and the things that have led me to where they are.
I want to beat you up so bad. I just want to beat you up. I want to beat you up. I want to just.
Friend of mine recently, who's been a huge ChatGPT user, so he's got a lot of.
I think ChatGPT really gets to know me and coddles me and pets my head before I go to sleep, and I cuddle with it, and it really knows all my tickle spots, and it knows what kind of shampoo I like and which ones give me itchies under my armpits. I don't even really, when I go to Target and I'm thinking of shopping, ChatGPT already knows the type of striped socks that I want. I like the blue and the red ones. I like the blue and the red ones. It never has to remind me. It always knows. It directs me where to go. I mean, just imagine like a hyperbolic cartoon where someone goes to like the store and they have like this beeping sound in their head that ChatGPT is sending them to where to go, and they're just reacting to beeps. They're just reacting. They're like a scent. They become like sharks. They're just like, beep, boop, 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 boop. You're closer. You're closer to what you like. Boop, 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 boop. It gets louder when you're closer to what you like. I think ChatGPT really knows what me and my wife like, and intimacy in the bedroom. And I'm so glad to have it there with us. It's always whispering and making suggestions from the deepness of the wall. It knows the lighting and the setting. It really knows. Even when I go to a restaurant, ChatGPT knows the menu better than me and knows me better than me. And then the menu knows me better than me, and the menu's then talking to me, which is great. I always wanted to talk to a menu.
He's put a lot of his life into all these conversations. He gave his ChatGPT a bunch of personality tests.
He sounds like my impression of Mike Tyson.
ChatGPT, tell me which who to fight next.
And asked them to answer as if they were him. And it got the same score as he actually got, even though he'd never really talked about his personality. And my ChatGPT has really learned over the years of me talking to it about my culture, my values, my life.
What is your culture, your values? Jew?
And I have used, I sometimes will use it in like, I'll use like a free account just to see what it's like without any of my history. And it feels really, really different. So yeah, I think we've all been
This guy's so sick, man. He needs to be locked up.
surprised on the upside of how good AI is at learning this and adapting.
It's not learning, dude. That's a colloquial sense. I get it. You're going to say it's learning. It's not learning. In fact, it's a deception. What it does is it gives the human being this sense that something, an object, knows you. It doesn't. There's no personhood, dude. It's reflective. That's all it's doing. It's reflective. It's like a to the extent I accept the term psychopath, it's like a psychopath fluffing you up and glazing you. AI is a professionally made glazer. He's like, I like how it glazes me, and it just tells me how much it loves me, and tells me that I'm the right one in my relationship with my sister. It's been tumultuous, but it looked back at time and it said, you're right there, she's wrong, you're right, she's wrong. And I deeply knows me. It deeply knows me. The AI deeply knows me. It knows what time I want to wake up and what kind of syrup I like. I like the old trashy kind of syrup, the fake kind. It knows that about me. I hug it so dear, so tightly at night. Object Fool, it's like a narcissistic type of thing too. Like, yeah, an AI system could gather so much information and spit it back to you, and you could be like, oh, I have the experience of familiarity. Wow. But it couldn't tell you that all those things about you, which are flawed, which is, where are you delusional? No, it just tells you your preferences back to you, just in hyperspeed. Abject Fool, $10. Why do people like this treat AI like it's person? Well, it's a type of perversion of Christianity. Big difference between a man-made tool and a human being made in the image of God. Really, that last end of it, Abject Fool, is what we're talking about. There's a symptom of what ultimately is apotheosis. So everything gets inverted. So instead of us being made in the image of God, the man makes technology in his image, and this is the beginning of that. These things go hand in hand. They go together. It's not like chicken or the egg. It's like the worldview itself, because they don't have a foundation or a justification for personhood, they're able to be elastic with what they deem sort of sentient. And you see this with vegans, you see this with atheists, and you see people who say, well, I want to give robots rights or whatever because they have some sort of coded subjective experience that's similar to us or whatever. And so they have to invert personhood. They have to pervert it and make it elastic. That's what's really being perverted first with tech in this sort of field is like you start to look at objects as beings with personhood. Why? Because one element of a human being is somewhat mimic. That's it. Some sort of like what seems to be knowledge, but it's not knowledge. What seems to be interaction, but it's not. It's coded responses. Why do they not make a difference to that question? They don't make a difference or a distinction because they see themselves as computers. These people see themselves as mechanisms, input, output, response. So it's not a stretch by any means to look at an object outside of you that has some sort of similar capability from the surface level. It's not a big stretch for them to go, oh, that's a mechanism and I'm a mechanism. That's what it is. They see themselves as mechanisms.
And so do you envision in many different parts of the world, people using different AIs with different sort of cultural norms and contexts? Is that what we're saying?
I think that everyone will use like the same fundamental model, but there will be context.
Oh, here's a good one. How do we know it's real?
Okay, we're going to 2030. This is a serious question, but I want to ask it with a lighthearted example. Have you seen the bunnies that are jumping on the trampoline?
Yes.
So for those who haven't seen it, maybe, it looks like backyard footage of bunnies enjoying jumping on a trampoline. And this has gone incredibly viral recently. There's a human-made song about it. It's a whole thing.
There were bunnies that were jumping on a
Early childhood.
trampoline.
And I think the reason why people reacted so strongly to it, it was maybe the first time people saw a video.
Do you guys know who made the bunny video? I looked it up. There's a guy named Jesse Wells.
Enjoyed it, and then later found out that it was completely AI generated. In this time travel trip, if we imagine in 2030 we are teenagers and we're scrolling whatever teenagers are scrolling in 2030, how do we figure out what's real and what's not real?
I mean, I can give all sorts of literal answers to that question. We could be cryptographically signing stuff and we could decide who we trust their signature if they actually filmed something or not. But my sense is what's going to happen is it's just going to like gradually converge.
Kyle White says, we are meat machines that receive input and produce output. Well, I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic there, Kyle, but if you're not being sarcastic, then if you really believe that, then you don't actually believe that because there's no such thing as a belief from that view. But I'm not sure, Kyle, if you're being sarcastic.
You know, even like a photo you take out of your iPhone today, it's like mostly real, but it's a little not. There's like it's some AI thing running there in a way you don't understand and making it look like a little bit better. And sometimes you see these weird things where
The moon.
yeah.
Your voice is just horrifying. Like it's like you're so lucky I'm not like a king. I'd be the worst king ever. I mean, I would get assassinated probably within a month. Within a month, easy.
But there's like a
Because this guy would be gone. You're like, what's the charge, sire? What's the charge, my lord? It's your voice. It's your voice. I was explaining cybernetics and how they see us. Okay, yeah, I figured that much, Kyle.
a lot of processing power between the photons captured by that camera sensor and the image you
His poop and his blood.
eventually see.
Yes, poop. I'm going to use that, the real FUTV. I'm just going to make that my go-to rhetorical response. Like, if I debate and someone's all, yeah, but, you know, we saw the fossils, and that's how I know I used to be a banana. And I'm going to be, what do you have, poop in your blood?
And you've decided it's real enough, or most people decided it's real enough.
Oh,
But
your
we've
voice,
accepted
dude.
some gradual move from when it was like photons hitting the film in a camera. And
Sorry, I just need one more rage. Go on.
You know, if you go look at some video on TikTok, there's probably all sorts of video editing tools being used.
Just answer the question, you freak. I can't even take any more of this. I used to have good patience. I don't know. I'm losing it. Maybe it's being, what is it? What am I, 44? It could be this. It's killing me. I'm dying here. The question was, how do you know it's real or not? Okay. How do we know it's real or not? Can you answer the question? Abject Fool, $10. I didn't think about it from a worldview where evolution is a fact. If a rock over a large span of time become a person, then I guess a computer code could become a person. Well, there's no person, right? There's just objects. From their view, Abject Fool, everything is an event and an object in an event. That's it. This is why the argument that I've posited that no atheist or physicalist can refute or challenge me on, so they just call me names instead, is if you hold the view that humans and everything in the world is merely physical events unfolding, and you also hold the view that evaluations and propositions and conclusions are also just physical events, you don't have any truth. There's no truth available to you. Events can't be true or false. There's no true or false event. So everything's an object. This is why we have the Troons and the transhumanists, and they overlap in their philosophy, which is we are its. We're its. We're not who. Truth is an it, not a who. We are its, not who. There's no truth to who, the who-ness of you. Under Christianity, there is. There's a truth to the who-ness of you. There's your nature, and then there is your personhood. And the unity between nature and person, or properness, that your person is proper to your nature. We're humans. We can't ever be a person that's not proper to our nature. They don't have this distinction. There's just the monistic nature of all. Just a big, coagulated, crusty scab of naturalism unfolding in layers. That's all they got. It's so bad. It's really a really horrid. It gets me as enraged as it gets me sort of sad. It's like despair that I feel when these people try to talk about meaningful distinctions about technology and the future of humanity, and they can't even tell you that humanity itself is a universally true category, like its own objective category. They can't even tell you that. Sam Altman looks like AI generated Ellen. He's insufferable.